Guys, do subscribe the Gate Hunt and press the bell icon to receive notifications on latest jobs updates, Gate talks and video lectures on Gate and IES.
Hello guys, welcome to the second lecture of ethics in engineering profession. So guys, today we will start our discussion with differences between Kohlberg's theory and Gilligan's theory of morality development. So in the last lecture, we have studied about the basic things that Kohlberg's theory defines and the basic things that were defined in the Gilligan's theory. So in this lecture, we will be talking about that what are the main differences between Kohlberg's theory and the Gilligan's theory. So guys, the first main difference between this Kohlberg theory and Gilligan theory is that this Kohlberg theory is mainly focused on men, whereas this Gilligan's theory is focused on women. In case of Kohlberg's theory, the theory is called ethics of rules and principles. That is, as per Kohlberg theory, whatever is the morality, it is quite rigid. That is, it doesn't changes with context, and the moral rules in case of Kohlberg's theory remains same in different situations. So according to Kohlberg, the moral rules of all men remains same in different situations. Guys, talking about this Gilligan's theory, it is focused on women. And the moral values defined according to this Gilligan's theory are called ethics of care. Here, as per Gilligan, whatever the morality is, that is quite flexible. Hence, reaction changes as per the context. Because here, emotions are given due respect. Whereas in case of Kohlberg's theory, emotions are not given much respect. So guys, these differences between Kohlberg and Gilligan's theory are explained by an example which is called Haynes' dilemma. So guys, Haynes was a poor person and his wife was suffering from some medical problem, and Mr. Haynes went to a chemist shop for purchasing the medicines which was prescribed for his wife. But this medicine was really beyond affordability for Mr. Haynes. So Haynes requested the chemist in various ways. He gave various options that please give me the medicines and I will make you the payments in installments. Or if you give me the medicines now, I will give you this much of interest. Whatever money I am not able to give now, I will give later and I will give a lot of interest on it. So, like this, he gave a lot of options, but the chemist didn't listen. So, what Mr. Hans did that when night came, in night he went to the chemist shop, broke opened the chemist shop and stole the medicines. So then those medicines were administered to his wife. So wife survived or not survived, that is not the focus here. The point here is that this action of stealing the medicine of Mr. Henge, this was put up by Mr. Kohlberg in his studies and by Miss Gilligan also when she was researching for his theory, and they have reported different reactions. So, as Mr. Kohlberg was researching with men, so he reported that for those men who were at the conventional level of their morality development, they said that Mr. Haynes is wrong. This is because for those men who are at the conventional level of morality development, as said earlier, loyalty to society is the main focus. Therefore, they are saying that Mr. Haynes is wrong because Haynes has hurt the profit of another society member. Whereas Kohlberg reported that for those men who are at the post conventional level of their morality, they said that Mr. Haynes is right. Because for these people, life of a person is more important than profit of another person. So according to these people, if life of Haynes' wife and profit of a chemist are in collision, then life of Haynes' wife is more important. Guys, moving on, Miss Gilligan reported that in case of women who are in both in conventional level and as well as the post conventional level, the hands is wrong. So according to ladies at both conventional level and as well as the post conventional level, Henge is wrong because according to them, by what he has done, he has not bothered about his relationship with the chemist. He has not cared about his relationship with the chemist. So the response of ladies in both the levels as per Gilligan's theory is that Henge is wrong. So, as I've told you in the beginning, that as per Gilligan's theory, woman follows ethics of or morality of care. So, how the ethics of care are different from ethics of rules and right? As per Kohlberg, man follows these types of ethics, and this is their response at different levels. Whereas, in case of Gilligan, this is the response at different level of women as per Gilligan's theory. So guys, that's it about the introductory part of this subject, that is ethics in engineering profession. Guys, now let's move on to the next chapter of this subject, which is values, human values and values in engineering profession. So guys, in this chapter, we will be talking about these topics. So first topic is belief, attitude and values. We will see that what is the belief, what is our attitude and what are the values. And then we will see that what is the meaning of human values and what are the human values, that is which values are considered as human values. And guys, then we will move on to the values in engineering. So what are the values in engineering? Like safety is very important value in engineering. So like this we will see that what are the different values in engineering. And guys, then we will move on to some miscellaneous topics related to values. So in this, first of all, we will see the hierarchy of values which is given by Mr. Maslow, and then we will see the differences between morals and values. And at the end, we will see the holistic competence. So guys, first of all, let's talk about that what are your beliefs. Guys, talking about the meaning of beliefs. So the meaning of belief is that these are the ideas we hold to be true. So those ideas which we think we consider as true, these are our beliefs. So guys, these ideas or beliefs can be based on certainties or probabilities or matter of faith. So here this certainty means that consider 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. So when somebody asks us that what is 2 plus 2, we will say 4 and we will always say 4. So this is our belief that 2 plus 2 will always be 4. So this is a certainty, and from where this certainty is coming from? It is coming from mathematics. Guys, moving on, what does this probability means? For example, consider a belief that is, if it is too hot on a day, then rainfall should happen. So this belief is a probabilistic belief. That is, it is purely based on probability, that it is not necessary that rainfall will happen on a hot day. So it is a probability that rainfall might happen or might not happen. Guys, moving on, this matter of faith means our religious beliefs. For example, somebody says that God exists. So these are his religious beliefs. So hence we can say this, that these ideas or beliefs can be based on certainties or probabilities or matter of faith. Guys, moving on, now let's talk about that how do we acquire these beliefs. So as we acquire beliefs consciously and unconsciously, that is either by studying or deciding by ourselves, or sometimes we acquire beliefs unconsciously from our good or bad past experiences. So that is why the places where we go, the people with whom we meet, the conditions in which we put ourselves, all these things would change us or influence us both consciously and unconsciously. So for example, we are going to a criminal locality and we are knowing what is good and what is bad, but because of that location something changes inside us unconsciously, and on that we don't have any control. So unconsciously we will learn some negative undesirable behavior. So that is why we should be very much bothered about our exposure. So guys, we can say that we acquire these beliefs unconsciously and consciously through our personal experiences, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. Guys, moving on. Now let's talk about that how can we change or modify our beliefs. So the factors responsible for modification or change of belief are same as the factors which have enabled the formation of beliefs. So for example, education helps us to form our belief, and through education we can also change people's belief. In the same way, through culture, beliefs are formed. Similarly, through change of culture, we can change people's belief. And through experiences, beliefs are formed. So, by subjecting a person through a different experience, we can change a person's belief. So, hence, we can say that the various factors responsible for modification of beliefs are through personal experience, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. Guys, now let's talk about that what are your values. So guys, the meaning of these values are prioritizing what is important to us. So guys, the sources through which we acquire our values are same as the sources through which we acquire our beliefs. That is, we acquire our values consciously and unconsciously through personal experience, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. Guys, moving on, the changes in our values occurs through personal experience, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. Guys, now let's talk about that what are our attitudes. So guys, the meaning of attitude is that attitude are the reactions, that is how we treat others and approach the situations. So for example, a person is very kind to babies, so we will say that this person is having very positive attitude to babies comparative to other persons having very unkind behavior to babies. So we will say that that person is having very negative attitude towards babies. So this how tells us whether we treat somebody positively or negatively. So we can have our attitude towards persons, objects, and situations. We can be positive or negative about different situations. Like there are people who are very much afraid of going into dark. So it means they have very negative attitude about dark. Guys, talking about that what are the different sources through which we acquire our attitude. So we acquire our attitude consciously and unconsciously through again personal experience, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. And similarly, we can change our attitude towards any situation or person or object through personal experience, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. So guys, now let's talk about that what does this behavior means. So guys, the meaning of your behavior is how you act. So if somebody is very much afraid of dark, so as soon as the person faces a dark place, he becomes very much frightened. So getting frightened is the particular behavior, and from this behavior shown by the person, we are deriving inference about the person's attitude towards that situation, that is situation of darkness. So, guys, we acquire behavior consciously and unconsciously through personal experience, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. And changes in our behavior occurs again through personal experience, through acceptance of social and cultural norms, and through education. So, guys, this diagram here shows hierarchy. So, out of these three things which are shown here, that is values, attitude, and belief, values are the most important for our psychology. So guys, these values are embedded in our psychology at the deepest point, and then the attitude, and then the belief. So this also means changing our belief is easier as compared to changing in attitude and values. So suppose we have a particular type of belief, then for whatever information we have developed one belief. So once we come across a situation where totally opposite information is being given to us, then we would become inclined to change our belief. Similarly, for whatever reason, our attitude has been formed. So if we are put into contrary situations, then we may be inclined to change our attitude. Similarly, is the case of values. But there is something called brainwashing or indoctrination. You must have heard from our politicians that all those people who have become militants are misguided, are brainwashed, and indoctrinated. So, this indoctrination means whatever beliefs, attitudes, and values the main society is giving to the people, these leaders of terrorist groups, they use some psychological techniques, and through that psychological techniques, they change beliefs, attitudes, and value systems these people normally have. So they make changes in all those things which a person have normally. And once you have changed these things, then the person becomes a changed person, and you can get done anything from that person. So all these things are changeable, but relatively beliefs can be changed easily than attitudes, and most tough is changing of values.
Guys, do hit the like button and do subscribe the Gate Hunt and press the bell icon to receive notifications on latest jobs updates, Gate talks and video lectures on Gate and IES.